Let's say you're out hiking with the gear that you normally take on a day hike. If you got lost or stuck in the wilderness, would you make it through the night? Now, if you're unsure, the next question is, should you consider having a survival blanket as part of your day hiking kit, or even your bug out bag, or an emergency preparedness kit? Hi everyone, this is Justin with the Ready Life channel, where we help you become prepared today, come what may. In a previous video, I talked about how day hikers are the most likely to get into a search and rescue situation. I like to try to follow the mantra, be prepared. So I wondered if I could just stuff a survival blanket in my backpack and that would get me through the night if I couldn't get out of a location, if I got lost, if I got stuck, if that survival blanket wouldn't get me through the night. It turns out the military has been using these for a long time. It's called a casualty blanket, and they use it in a very light and mobile sleep system. It's called the Ranger Roll or the Ranger Taco. It would make sense anyways to have a light system that could easily be put together, pulling apart, especially in a combat situation. But this also has the advantage of making it easily to put into like a smaller pack, a day pack, which is great for hikers, and it's good for an emergency preparedness kit as well. So stay to the end, because I'm going to talk about how this survival blanket can be used to keep you warm even in the winter. So the rule of threes says that you can survive 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, and 3 hours in extreme weather conditions. So the first survival priority is maintaining your core body temperature. That's the first thing that can kill you. So I'm also conscious about being prepared for disasters and emergencies that we've seen around the country and the world, from people in Texas who went without power for weeks, to people in Virginia stuck on a freeway in freezing conditions for 24 hours. So it's good to have a kit in your car and, if possible, on your person. And this blanket offers a key component. All right, let's go check it out. And an emergency blanket is this material that kind of looks like aluminum foil. They call it Mylar. And the idea is that it reflects heat back to your body. When I was a kid, we would go skiing in the mountains. We would put a pair of socks on, we would wrap it with aluminum foil, and then put another pair of socks on and put that inside of our ski boots, and that kept our feet warmer. Pretty much, I'm sure that this does work. There are some things to know about these emergency blankets and survival blankets that I want to talk about. But the first thing is, I decided that I wanted to get a good one. So can you have one of these emergency blankets that's durable, that you can reuse? Like the little one that I showed in the video, that's a one-time use thing. It's like flimsy as paper, like aluminum foil really, and might help you in a pinch. But is there something that you can keep in your bag that you could reuse, that you could actually use as a blanket to increase the warmth of your sleeping bag or your wool blanket or something like that? So I ordered a survival blanket and from Amazon, and it came in an envelope this big, and it's actually much smaller than this. So I think this blanket can actually go inside my pack and take up very little room. In fact, add a little padding to the back, and I think it has multiple uses. So let's check it out real quick. All right, here it is. This is the Arcturus Heavy Duty Survival Blanket. It's a reinforced survival blanket designed to provide you with protection when you need it most. It reflects heat, it is windproof, it is waterproof. It reflects up to 90% of heat. It's 5 feet by 7 feet, which is a very standard sort of tarp size. Let's take this out here. So it's comes in this green pouch here with a zipper on the end. So that's nice because it folds up pretty nicely. This is a pretty small pouch. Aluminum reflective side to reflect heat to create a radiant barrier or signal for help. Oh, look at that. You can use the reflective side to signal for help. It's like a big mirror. You can reflect light. Durable nylon reverse for use as a ground cover, shelter, or tarp. And it weighs less than a pound, including the multi-use storage bag. Spray off mud and dirt after each use and allow to air dry. First of all, I'll take that thing off. Nice little Arcturus branding there. So, you know, the main interest for me for having this is I don't necessarily want to carry a sleeping bag with me every time I go out on a hike. So instead of that, and then this could also be used in your go bag as well. So you put this in your bag with a military woobie, which is called a poncho liner, or a wool blanket. Sometimes that can fit inside your bag, and a poncho. And then you have a shelter. You have, this is like a ground cover that you can wrap around yourself, and it is an extra layer of warmth because of the reflective nature. And this is the blanket. Really, it's like a tarp, but it's got this reflective material on the inside. So let's see here. Uh-oh. That wind will get you. Okay, so you could also use this for photography. You could put this up and have a nice reflector so that you have a field light, you know. All right, let's check it out on the ground. All right, first I'll say that this is a substantial material. It is nothing like the paper thin, aluminum foil-ish, or even lighter emergency blankets that you see sometimes. This grommet here is attached to the tarp, and it's a substantial grommet, I would say. And there's this, I think it's like a nylon material that's around it. So, you know, even if you have a good grommet, if you have it on this material here, down here, I could see this ripping. Whereas this durable nylon in the corner is made not to rip. So it's there for the grommets on all four corners. Yeah. You hear that gunshot? Someone's shooting down here. Oh. Okay, well, it's 7 feet long, so I'm 6'3". Gotta take my shoes off, of course. And first of all, it's good padding. And I'm a big dude, but I can definitely wrap myself with it completely. I could even tie down these grommets if I wanted to. I would say, yeah, this material, it's not going to absorb any moisture. So you wouldn't want to just sit here inside of this thing if you're trying to stay warm. I mean, it'll block you from wind and water. You could, you know, put it up as a shelter, like I said, but yeah, with my skin up against this, this material that's waterproof, we're just gonna build up moisture in here, and then I'm gonna get wet, and then I'm gonna get cold. So this really serves its function if you have a wool blanket that does absorb water and retains heat up to, well, like at 80% of its heat, even when it's wet. So you have either a poncho liner or a wool blanket inside of here, and then this around that, and that's probably a good situation. Then I'll add, I don't know, I'd like to know how many degrees of warmth that would add. That'd be a good number to know. 10, 20, 15, I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty warm in here. Now, it's not very cold out. It's probably 60 degrees. So the question is, does this do the job at 40 degrees? And it probably depends on, am I wearing base layers? Am I wearing wool, long johns, and other layers that are going to help as well? And then do I have a fire? And it depends on the situation. You know, this does depend on the situation. For a hiking accessory, this is great. I think if you were in a tough situation, this could help keep you warm, keep you dry. And if you could start a fire, I think you'd be good to go in a lot of scenarios. You know, if it was a bug out situation and you know you weren't in a hospitable environment, you couldn't start a fire. If that was the situation, this actually would be a good way to help keep you warm there as well without having a fire. So that's why I think it's a good addition to an EDC, a bug out bag. But I think it's a good hiking accessory too, because they're the same principle. The same principle is to be prepared for what might happen when we don't expect it. Now we're gonna watch me fold this thing up, see how easy it is to get back in this thing. That's a good thing to know, how easy it is to pack up. And then we're gonna see if it'll fit in my backpack okay. This is my EDC, my 511 Rush 12 actually. So as an accessory to even this military poncho garments, as a shelter, I have my base layers back here, which are long johns, my mess kit, this is a saw, stocking cap, gloves, shemagh, no toilet paper there, first aid kit. This is a little cheapo emergency space blanket that was in my kit, and I've never used it because it's flimsy. It's truly just for like break in case of emergency kind of thing, you know what I mean? There it is, the Arcturus Survival Blanket. I'll just show you that I can easily zip this up. So as an EDC or everyday carry item, I think it works. I think it could be a good addition to the pack here. And you might be asking why I need to worry about cold in the desert, but here's the thing you need to know about the desert. You can get hypothermia in the 60s if you get wet, especially. But one thing you may not know about the desert is that, like a lot of other places, there's extreme temperatures change from the daytime and to the night. So I think it's kind of like this in the mountains too. It can be 60 degrees or 70 degrees in the day, and then at night it'll certainly drop down below 30, or below freezing, I should say. I mean, I think I spent 20 bucks on this guy, and I think I'm going to try it out. I'm going to take it out in a future video. I will take this out. I will test it with the poncho liner or a wool blanket, or maybe both, and we'll see if it stands up, if it can keep me warm enough, at least to, I want to say at least to around 30 degrees.
Okay, so let's just go over real quick what I did with the wrapping of the inside of the poncho liner and the survival blanket. As I said, this is what's known as the Ranger roll. So this would typically include having the poncho itself on the outside of the emergency or survival blanket, so that the poncho liner that's on the inside, that's touching your body, that could be tied to the poncho on the outside, and that would keep everything tight and closed. That would prevent, or at least help reduce the amount of air coming into the bag when you're trying to sleep at night. The system as is probably good into the 50s, maybe the upper 40s. I'm going to field test this, but this is what I've heard. It probably depends on, your body type and what you're accustomed to. Like if you're from, the Southwest like me in Las Vegas, maybe it's not, you're not used to the cold as much. If you're from Minnesota, maybe it's different. So in the winter and colder conditions, you can actually add a wool blanket between the poncho and the emergency blanket. So it would be the second layer from the outside, just under the poncho. And then you would have the emergency blanket and then your poncho liner. And those 4 items, they all would fit together pretty well. Wrapped around you would keep you pretty warm and probably keep you alive into freezing conditions, especially if you're clothed right. And shout out to Grunt Proof, the YouTube channel that talked about this much more extensively. So final word on the Arcturus Survival Blanket. So even though it is branded as heavy duty, and it is certainly better than those paper thin space blankets, it does have limits, especially as a shelter. It only has 4 grommets on it. It's not really built with extra stitching or rip stop. So under heavy conditions, like heavy winds, it'll probably rip. But as a range roll, I think it's good to go. For $20, it's a great buy. Now, if you want something that's going to last a lifetime, that can act as a shelter, that's just super rugged, you can check out the Bushman Thermo Tarp. It may have limited availability. It's from Europe. I think it's made in Finland, but I'll put a link below. So I hope this was helpful if you were looking at purchasing the Arcturus Survival Blanket or something similar. Thanks for watching the Ready Life channel. This is Justin signing off and hoping you are living the Ready Life.